A catalyst for change with the chance to thrive. Crystal is the one to stir up gifts and save lives. You get exposure, promotion, and marketing too. And advertise for business owners just like you. On Storytime, your interview is global. Virtual or in person, just come on the show. Yo, your story matters. Crystals will open the door. 40 years of experience, ready to give you more on Storytime. Get ready for Storytime. Hey, come on.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. And I hope you are ready for tonight. Hello, this is Crystal with Storytime. I know you're looking at me on this lovely picture right now. I am your host tonight. Tonight we have a special guest. His name is Greg Ellis. And Greg Ellis is a devoted family man. He is married to his high school sweetheart, Mrs. Ellis, and they have 3 children, and they currently reside in Texas. He's originally from North Carolina, y'all, right here in Wendell. How about that? And he attended the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill on a football scholarship where he majored in communication. God, isn't that amazing? So right now we are going to bring him up, and we have a clinician that he has joining him today to help for us to spread some awareness. And the topic today is awareness for mental health. I'm your host, Crystal Bodie Smith. I want to ask you to do a few things if you're out there today, ladies and gentlemen. And I want you to know that we are going to be asking you to share this live with about 5 friends, okay? And let them know that you've come across this, because if you come across this, it was for a reason. The life you save could be someone in your very family or someone close to you, okay? We also want to ask you to do something. We want you to share this live. We want you to make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you can come on back, all right? And just a little bit about what we do. This is Storytime, where human beings connect through life experiences. And what we do is we allow people to come and talk about their testimony, how they overcome the things that they have done that has really blessed them. We have a show on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and we will do a live and sometimes a replay on Sundays at 9 p.m. So if you have a story, and it doesn't matter how big or small, let us know, and we'll be happy to help you to get that story out. So with that being said, I'm the girl Crystal, and like I said, we've got this young man here who has been a football player from North Carolina. He played with the Dallas Cowboys, and we're going to bring him up so he can tell you about it. You might recognize him standing here. And we also have another young man that's going to be here with him. And we're excited. He's going to bring his experience to the field. Okay, these 2 gentlemen are our guests for tonight. And tonight we are going to definitely talk to these 2 gentlemen about this important topic. With that being said, right now I'm going to bring up my first guest and allow him to introduce himself, and we're going to get this thing started. So let somebody know that we're here. Greg, are you there?
I am here. And in live effect, thank you for allowing me to visit your platform and allowing us to be heard across the world. And look forward to this going everywhere.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, first of all, for some people may not be a Dallas Cowboy fan. They may not
Why
be.
not? Why would they not be a Dallas Cowboy fan?
Listen, they might be like me. I don't even watch football. I'm strictly basketball, right? I'm strictly basketball. So they could be. It's not that they hate. They just maybe that's just not their thing. So I would love for you to tell them a little bit about who is Greg Ellis, and start from the beginning, like that little boy from Wendell, North Carolina. Tell us, who is Greg Ellis?
Well, for starters, just like you said, Greg Ellis is that little boy from Wendell, North Carolina. And my mom, dad, raised in a household with both parents. I have a brother who's 2 years older than myself. I tell people this: we grew up really humble financially. When I say humble, we didn't have a lot of money. My mom and dad actually starting out early before I was born. They was married, and my brother was born, but they actually experienced sharecropping before. And so we grew up, really not having a lot of money, if you would. But they still loved us and raised us and did the best that they can do for my brother and myself. Taught us the importance of having that relationship with God. And so had a good, strong foundation, if you would. Love sports, obviously. Love God, obviously. And just, grew up that way. Started playing organized sports when I was in the 7th grade. Then, basketball and football. Basketball started in the 8th grade and went from the middle school on to high school, straight to the varsity sports, on to the University of North Carolina to play football scholarship. Had the opportunity to play some basketball there for the junior varsity. Had the opportunity to go play varsity, but I turned that down. And then 1998, God saw fit for me to be drafted by the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys, and played there for 11 years. Did my last year with the Raiders. And here I am now. And as you mentioned, I'm married. Married to my high school sweetheart, which we met in the 11th grade. We have 3 wonderful kids, and that's where we at. Do a lot of work now in the production world, content creation, and obviously also my foundation nonprofit, specializing and focusing on mental health and mental wellness, if you would. And so that's me, my elevator pitch of Greg Ellis' life in 3 minutes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you brought someone along with you today, a young man that you met here in North Carolina. We had an awesome informational session in Raleigh, North Carolina last night in Roberts Park. And he was very informative. I know he has a background that fits right into what you're doing. And
Correct.
So do you know anything about him? I'll let you bring him up and introduce who you have with us today.
Gabe is an amazing therapist, professional therapist. I met Gabe not the first time, but one of the times we brought our initiative, mental wellness initiative, here to North Carolina. And he actually was one of the panelists. He did a great job. And so our connection, started there. And I use the word connection because I look forward to forever being connected with him, with Gabe. A lot of knowledge when it comes to mental wellness. And so he has a military background. And so that's probably why we both connect real well. He's military and obviously I'm NFL. And so, but it's just a great human being, loves people and want to do what he can do to help people. So without any further ado, please bring my brother Gabe on.
All right, Gabe, are you there? I see you, brother. Wow, what an introduction. How are you today?
Yes, I'm great. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. Thank you, Crystal, for having me on tonight. I appreciate that.
No problem. So he did give us a little bit of your background. You talked about you being in military and having a little bit background with the mental health, and I know you're a clinician. Anything you want to add to what he just said? Are you from the area, first of all?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm actually from Baltimore, Maryland. However, I started out very young in the military, Army Reserves, and then I spent 33 years in law enforcement. And first 11 years was with the Baltimore City Police Department, where I was a police officer. I was a SWAT team member, and I was also downtown narcotics detective. And then I went from there to the Drug Enforcement Administration. After I got my degree at Coppin State, I was a special agent with the Drug Enforcement Administration and was able to move on from there and retire a few years ago, and went back to school, got my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. before I ended, I had an opportunity to meet with and connect with quite a few people. And that's where I got my desire to work with people and really get to know, some of the challenges that they're going through and help walk them through some of the things that might be happening. So I'm happy to be here tonight. I'm with renewed strength. That's really how Greg and I met. Was through Dr. Renee Mena, who is a good friend of Greg's. Mm-hmm. And we're here to partner with Greg with this endeavor he has with the film, My Dear, and then also to get out that word of the app that he's going to be talking about as well.
Wow!
I'm here to kind of support and just talk a little bit about different things that are going on when it comes to mental health.
And before we go into the app and everything, since your background is mental health, let me ask you this question. In 2025, would you say that we're in trouble as a community, as a global entity, the USA? I mean, however you want to put it. I mean, families at home. Would you say that mental health is at an all-time high and people need to pay attention because it is something that needs to be talked about in the home and taken seriously?
Yeah, I would think that, mental health is a major challenge. I think sometimes we put masks on and it is a stigma still that, getting help, getting assistance is a sign of weakness. Which is just the opposite. And really what we're seeing in 2025 is more and more people that really are trying to do it themselves. They're trying to figure things out. And sometimes it just gets overwhelming. We spoke, like you had mentioned earlier, Crystal, last night about technology and how that affects society now. And it's all ages, especially our young people.
What would you add to that from your experience from doing this project, Greg?
Mm-hmm. I would add to it. Obviously, it's a huge epidemic, right? But I would say this. I think more people are becoming aware of it. And so I think, the efforts are working. More people are getting help, if you would. We still have a large number and too many people that are not. But I would say more people are becoming aware of it. And it's very unfortunate because, I think people's lives ending by way of suicide is encouraging other people, hey, you need to pay attention to your mental state. And that's sad that it sometimes take that, if you would. But, I do think things are trending in the right direction. Now, the numbers are still increasing, but there's precautions that are being put into place to start to work on that. So I'm glad to see those things coming to life.
Wow. And you did an amazing presentation, and some of the statistics that you gave blew my mind a little bit because we just didn't realize it was that bad. When you said that, if it's okay for me to share some of those statistics,
Go ahead.
When you said that 80% of men are the ones who committing suicide. I mean, out of 100%, 50-50 women, men, and 80% are men. That really was a shocker. But the one that really, really took me for a loop was when you said what you said about, I think, 2023 or one of the previous years, and people 85 and above were taking their lives. That was shocking. I mean, I do know that at that age, they do kind of see their friends and family go and they get kind of lonely and everything. But we talked about suicide and you talked about the different things that cause people to go there, and you did the hierarchy. And I know we're not going to do the presentation today, but what are some points that you might want to let people know about that presentation? What if you had to do another little elevator pitch about the presentation itself? What is it that you want people to understand?
It's called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And basically, Abraham Maslow was born in like 1904 or 5. upstate, and he came up with the theory of the basic needs that 5 needs that people need to experience and satisfy in order to have a holistic, successful life experience, if you would. And what happens when you don't satisfy those levels, right? It prohibits you from 100% being able to concentrate on the next level, for one. But when we have a life where we don't satisfy hardly in any of those levels, what happens to an individual? Those people, that group of people that are not satisfying those levels, end up, what I call like buried almost, and then when you're buried, you typically resort to things that are not good for your body, doing things that our body was not intended to handle, like excessively drinking, excessively worrying, excessively stressing, harboring unforgiveness about situations that didn't go your way. And so we have to make sure that our minds get renewed, if you would, so we don't handle the negative things of not satisfying those levels that way. That can only make it worse, if you would. And so I think it's important for people to understand. I know life can be hard and it throws a lot of us a lot of curveballs, but understand, like I said in my intro, I was born into a mom and dad, a family who came from sharecropping. So imagine the hardships that, we had to endure a lot in my life. But important, make sure that you don't do any of what I call misuse. And misuse is, some people call it sin, if you would, but harboring unforgiveness, excessively drinking, bad eating patterns, unhealthy sexual relationships, stressing, all those things are unhealthy, and our bodies were not intended to function, to handle those things. And when those things do come into play, it throws us out of whack, right? It can cause your brain to overly or under produce necessary chemicals to help you function, if you would. And if you continue on that pattern, eventually it leads to mental disorders. Similar into, we used the example last night of an alcoholic, right? If a person is an alcoholic consuming large amounts of alcohol for 30 something years, well, odds are, by the time that person is 50, the liver is going to be in bad shape. And so, because your body was not designed to handle those large amounts of liquor for that period of time. And the same way about the rest of the stuff, stressing, and all the rest of it. Our bodies were not designed to handle it. And if we're not careful, we can pass that on. Once it becomes part of our DNA, we can pass that on to the next generation. And hence, that's why when you go to the hospital, the doctor asks you, do you have a history of diabetes? Do you have a history of heart disease? Do you have a history of cholesterol? And so on and so on. It's for a reason, because they know that those things can pass on from generation to generation. And it is of my belief the same thing with mental disorders. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I was muted. I want to make sure I didn't make any noise. Excuse me. Gabe, let me ask you this. With your experience, everything he just described, when people start to do those things, sometimes that's when you come into play. And you mentioned something last night about how sometimes you're the first person that they come to. Can you talk a little bit about that and your experience on why it's important for people to really get connected and have communication at home, because it's not happening?
Yeah, so what we're finding is that many times there are miscommunications, maybe at home. There might be a miscommunication with either young or middle age or older folks that they don't have that person to connect with, that person that they can be vulnerable with. When it comes to people in general, I think we have a tendency to kind of put a mask up and try to not show our vulnerability. Because we feel like it might be weak in some way. When I see them, or when we see them in the clinical office, oftentimes it may take a few sessions, but they feel safe in that environment. They feel that they won't be judged in that environment. They're willing to talk about some of the things that are on their mind that they wouldn't tell pretty much anybody else. And we're able to kind of work through different things to be able to deal with things. Greg said earlier about suicide. We're able to put a crisis plan together. We talk about the people that he can lean on, his support system. There's a safety net. We kind of reframe negative thoughts. So there's a lot of things that's done inside of the office or inside the sessions. But what we also like to see is that support system, especially when it comes to family that's communicating. So many times we were brought up, especially as boys, that when we fall off the bike, we skin our knee, we start crying. Hey, big boys don't cry. Well, that sticks with us as we go into manhood. And oftentimes we are reluctant to seek help. And then after probably 35, 40 years old, it becomes more difficult to find friends. Now, I'm not talking about friends online. I'm talking about actual friends that you can see face to face, and that when you have challenges, they're there for you no matter what. When they have challenges, they're for you, you're for them, and they're for you. And that's when you really know who your friends are. And I think a lot of us, it's difficult to try to find those type of friends that are positive in nature, that can help us move forward in life. And when you don't have that, just like Greg said, you can only hold on to so many things, whether it be microaggressions or racial challenges, or it might be, anything that financial stress. There might be grief. Someone passes away. There might be isolation or even substance abuse that's involved with it. So I think it's one of those things that we have a major challenge with. But when we come to the office, we kind of sit down and we kind of get deeper into things.
Wow. Okay. That's good. Well, gentlemen, I know that we have some things that we want to show. So I'm going to make it so we can show some of these things. We have the app that we know you created. And I want to find out first, how did you come up with this idea? Tell us, Greg, what was happening in your life? I mean, you just naturally an inventor, or you just somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit, or you just had some situations going on in your life and you got creative. How did this app come about? Before we start to share it, can you let us know what led to the making of the app, the making of the movies, and all these things you did? How did you get from football into these things?
Well, one thing about me is that I find satisfaction in helping people. And that's the honest God truth. It's not a cliche answer. That's just one of the callings that God, put inside of me, is to be able to help people. And I may not always be able to help people the way they want to be helped, but I do tend to find a need, or God shows me a need and helps me fill that void, that need, to people, if you would, if they, allow me to, if you would. And so with the app, there's a huge void in people getting help, right? There's a lot of resources out there, actually, but it's like plugging in the switch, right? We got this really nice high-end TV, but it doesn't do anything until we plug it in. And so it needs to be connected, if you would. And so that's what I saw, the void in mental health, right? Is that resources are there, but people don't know how to connect to the resources. And people are too embarrassed to ask for help, right? For whatever reason it is, embarrassment feels like, I'm showing a sign of weakness or jeopardizing my job if I ask and lead on that, hey, I need some mental help, any of those things, whatever it is. And so with the app, you don't have to go ask anybody where can you get help from if you're dealing with any kind of thing that has to do with mental wellness. disorders. One of the best features that people tend to like on the app is found in our resource category. And you click on resources, you can click on select your disorders as categories. Select whatever category of disorder you're dealing with, bipolar, schizophrenia, and you name it should be in there. You select that, select your state in your city, hit search and scroll down.
Is that in the app or is that here on this page?
That's
can you
in
see
the app.
page that we're
So the
sharing?
page that you're showing the viewers right now, once they click on the link, and I don't know if you have that link, I put it in there, but if you click on the link, it takes you to what we're looking at right now. And that lets us know that you can download the app in your Android device or your Apple device. All right, either store, the app is there, and the app is free to download. But you can also simply go and type in your app store, Getting My Help, GettingMyHelp, Getting My Help. And it should be the first thing that populate in your store, and you can just click the download button, and then you'll have us right there as well.
Wow! And
it's
so
free.
I'm
And it's free.
I'm going to put the actual. I'm going to put the actual link up so people can actually see what that link is too for Getting My Help. It's going to go across the screen, so if anybody wants to do it,
they can use that link to get
if
there.
that's a little too much, I'll put it there so they can take a screenshot, because we're a little bit older, so sometimes we don't move quite as fast with this technology stuff. We baby boomers, so we might need a little help. So I'm putting it there, so if you come back and you do this replay, you can definitely do this. We're talking about mental health. We have Greg Ellis and we have Gabe. How you pronounce your last name, Gabe?
Bewley.
We have Gabe Bewley, who is a mental health professional, and they are sharing some great information about that. So what I want to do now is the app. We talked about the app. There's also the movie. There's also a movie that came about. So tell us, how did the movie come about, and tell us a little bit about the movie.
Well, like I said, I enjoy creating content. I think one of the best ways that we can help people is through entertainment. And first, people do have to understand entertainment is more than just laughing, right? That's just one branch of entertainment. There's crying, there's anger, there's happy, there's sad. So all that, though, is a part of entertainment. And if we as content creators can do something to touch you in any one of those branches, then you have an increasing likelihood of retaining the information that we have in that content. And so it's our responsibility as content creators to have messages, in my opinion, that can help enhance one's life if they pay attention to it. And so this movie is not exempt from that. I'm glad when we show the film, I hear people laughing, because that is important. That's probably the biggest one. People like to laugh. And so there'll be times in the film that you're going to laugh. There'll be times in the film that, you're going to cry. You're going to get angry. You're going to say, girl, I know he didn't do that. And so there's a lot of up and down in the film. But the main thing is stressing the importance of getting help, identifying and recognizing when you or somebody that you know and love, that behavior pattern is changing. And so if it does, make sure you really pay attention to that person, to that individual. Of course, a grown person you cannot make go seek help, but definitely pay attention to him or her, and encourage them and be willing to go with them if that's what it takes to visit some professionals.
And so we're going to look at a clip of the movie, but this is a mental health issues and life obstacles turned this perfect family upside down. It's called My Dear. And you are the writer and director. Once again, if you're just chiming in and you come back and do the replay, Greg Ellis is a Dallas Cowboy legend, played with the Dallas Cowboy, and I believe you said the Raiders too.
The Raiders.
And the synopsis is that the untreated mental health issues disrupt the harmony of what once seemed like a flawless family in this movie. It was caught up in the crossfire, and there's a 6-year-old daughter. And how about instead of me reading this, I'll let you talk about it so you can let the people know before I bring
Okay.
on the clip.
Okay.
I will let you kind of give them a little bit of what this movie is all about and how you came up with it.
Well, first, I like to give this young lady named Tamara Henson. She goes by the name of TK. So she is a co-writer. I create and write, and so I create and wrote, the vast majority of this. But she did co-write with me on this project, and I like working with her as well. For this film, I was working on a film, writing a film, and then this guy named Junior Seau passed, and I personally didn't know him, but that just touched. Junior played professional football as well, and I said I didn't know him because our paths overlapped. He's a little older than me, but our NFL journey overlapped, but I didn't personally know him. But he was a poster child for many years in the NFL, and his life ended through suicide, and it just touched me in a way that I could not explain and caused me to really reflect on a lot of guys that I played with. A guy named Marion Barber, who struggled mentally, especially after he finished playing football, and so many other guys that I played with who had, mental issues, some worse than others, if you would. And so that kind of birthed me in the direction of wanting to do a film like this. A large part of the motivation, I would say this though, came from this statement or phrase that I always tell people when people lose loved ones, like when their loved ones die and move on. I tell people and encourage them, make sure you continue to live and be the best version of yourself, because that loved one that just passed on, that's what they want you to do. I assure you, if they loved you, and the fact that you're having this emotional breakdown because of the individual lets me know that they loved you. And so if you love them, you owe it to them to continue being the best version of yourself. And that statement is actually in the film. Wow. But that's what it got birthed from. And so I'll say this to your listeners, make sure, tough times come. That's some of the tough times that any of us can face when we lose loved ones, right? Whether it's cousin, brother, aunt, kid, whatever it is, animals, especially dogs, seems like, but other animals as well. I don't want to exclude them, but somebody that's close to you, when that person is no longer part of your life, the feeling of hopelessness, the wanting to give up and just say, I don't have anything else to live for, that's present and presents itself to some degree to all of us when our loved ones, transition off from this earth. But again, please take the time to think about that loved one. If you truly want to honor them, make sure that you push forward in life, being the best version of yourself. And besides that, there's a lot of contributions that the world is waiting for that you have to present to them. So you owe it to that loved one, and you owe it to the world to continue being the best version of yourself.
Wow. Let me ask before we show, and I saw that on this particular page, there's a 5-minute clip and there's a 1-minute trailer. Which one do you want me to show? And
I think the 1 minute probably be better. I wouldn't,
Okay. I'll do that. But
you can show either one of them.
Say that again.
It doesn't matter to me, but I would think, for your audience, I'm interested to hear Gabe talk some more.
Yeah, I would get ready to ask him about what you just said and how important that is to what you just said about living your best life, going on with life after losing someone. Is this a conversation that therapists tend to have? And how far along does the person have to get counseling to actually get there? Because I know it's not easy. It's not always easy. Is that correct?
No, it's not. Thanks for handing that over to me. Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to trying to be your best self, that's, sometimes we feel like something's off, and we're not sure exactly what it is, but we know something's off. And we know ourselves better than anybody else. And so when you feel like there's something that might just be off a little bit, probably one of your first things is to go to a friend, talk to a friend, be open to a friend. They may not know all of the things to be able to get you through and skills and stuff that you could get from a therapist, but talk to a friend. Suicide is the ultimate ending. We never want to move to that, but we're not afraid to talk about that. And I think that's where some people, especially our older community, like myself, we have a tendency not to want to talk about it because we're afraid we're imprinting them. We're putting that message into their mind. Trust me, that message is probably already in their mind if you think there's a challenge. But when it comes to them coming to us, the best case scenario is that we get them early. We get them early before things start spiraling down. That's where things start going a little bit poorly because we've waited for so long to do it. Now, it's still good to bring them in. It's still good to get them to want to do it, right? Just like Greg said, we can't make anybody come in and do it. It has to be them that want to make the change, that want to do the work in the clinician's room to try to work through whatever challenge they have. But the big thing is, if you see somebody that is having some challenges, by all means, talk to them, ask questions, let them know that you care, let them know they have something to live for. That's the most important thing because they're at their wits' end. They're at the final straw. They're saying, look, I don't have anything left. This I'm turning to. But you have to let them know they have so much more to live for and so many more people that love them. So I think that's an important message to try to get out there that that's never the best alternative. Get some help, talk to somebody, come to counseling, come to Renewed Strength. We're right in Nightdale and we're online as well. So and we deal with all of these things.
And I'm going to show a little bit about what you guys offer too, but let's take a look at this clip real quick and see what this is all about and really dive in. And then we'll give them some information about the viewing that's actually taking place here this week, Saturday. Let's take a sneak peek.
Lily, who's Lily?
The daughter, sir.
There you are, Daddy. Mommy! You look so pretty.
But today's gonna be a good day, okay?
God is good. God is great. Let us thank Him for our food. Do I have to go to school today?
Yes, you have to go to school today. How is she going to learn?
You guys can teach me.
We can teach you.
Well, sweetie, we can, but it'd be rather boring with no other kids around.
Order in the court.
Are you going to brush your teeth? Are you going to eat breakfast with me in the morning?
Daddy's got an important meeting in the morning, okay?
Man, that ain't the preacher I know.
That's the preacher I want to know.
What happened?
You see a 7-year-old little girl whose life was turned upside down because of untreated mental health issues. The love and support from her mother and father that she had grown accustomed to for 7 years was lost in the matter of a couple of weeks.
I called you.
Wow.
Thankful for the moment.
What's wrong?
I don't have anyone to say goodnight prayers with anymore.
Sure you do.
Wow.
Lily, who's Lily?
I'm wondering how much do they hear that screaming? I want to come back to you on that. Talk about how this affects people when this happens. Gabe.
Yeah. So this movie, I've seen it several times. It's an amazing movie. It really is. It gets you an opportunity to see probably one of the things that people don't get an opportunity to see. And it spans the gamut, like what Greg said, young, middle age, older, and hearing that scream, hearing the stress in the voice, that is something that just can take your breath away, and something that is traumatic. Trauma is one of those things that that affects many of us, and this trauma would be for a young person, for middle age with the wife, and then the parents as well. So it affects when suicide happens. It affects more than that individual. It affects family, friends, loved ones that that really may have had no idea that this was going on.
Wow. And Greg, this Saturday, you're doing a movie premiere here. And it's still availability for people to come out. Talk to me about that. I have the flyer showing, but I see that it's 3:00 this Saturday. Give the people the information on how they can get tickets for this and why they need to go see this movie.
Well, I think a number of reasons why an individual need to go see the film, and I think one of the biggest reasons is that it touches on the entire family, meaning that the dad is dealing with some mental issues, the mom is as well, and also the little girl. Now, the little girl is not necessarily having a mental issue, but her situation is that she has trauma stemming from the issues of her father and the issues of her mother. And so again, that perpetuates and allows mental disorders to continue to exist, if you would, because kids that don't get the opportunity to get the necessary help when it comes to dealing with trauma that most of the times occurs in their home. And so that's important. So I would encourage everybody to come see the film, if you would. And that flyer, you can scan that QR code. That will take you to where you can purchase tickets. You can go to mydearthemovie.com. You can go there and click on the drop down, so you will see upcoming shows, and then you can stroll down and find the Raleigh show, September the 20th. Click on that, and that will take you to Eventbrite. Now, the cool thing that I'm about to tell you right now is that a discount code. Usually I don't give it out publicly, but we're so close to show date and we still have some more tickets available. And so this is such an amazing platform. Thank you, Crystal, for inviting myself and Gabe up here. And so the discount code is Greg Ellis, just all lowercase, GREGELLIS. You click that in there, and that'll take that ticket down to it's either $15 or $12. And you may say, well, why am I not sure about it? Because we do a lot of these shows. And we have another one coming up in October the 18th in Chicago. Well, no, I'm sorry. We got one coming up September the 23rd back in Dallas. And then another one October the 18th. And then another one October the 19th. Chicago is the 18th, and got to go all the way down to Florida for the one on the 19th. So, we're covering a lot of ground. If you want to request and see if we can come to your area, just email me at the info@gettingmyhelp.com. And so, it's a good movie. Entertainment, yes, it is. But how can I put this? I don't want to sound boastful, but I thank God that every person that I have talked to, they have seen the film. And for those of you that may say, well, they're just saying that because they don't hurt your feelings. But even when I go and look at some of the posts that people make about the film, it's pretty incredible. And I thank God that, for blessing us to hit a good mark where the film relates to people from all walks of life. So, we had one person when we first did it in Greensboro, North Carolina, and she sent a post out, and we came across that post, and hers stood out. I think it was a female. I don't remember because we X the name out when we talk about it. But the individual, though, they shared that the movie really touched them, brought them to tears, and that they have attempted suicide several times. And I don't know how many times several times is, but one time is one too many. And so to help people open up and share that with us is a very positive thing and says a lot about the movie. And what I would say this too, Crystal, is that, and Gabe can testify to this, Gabe said he's seen the film several times, and he has, because we keep getting requested to come back to North Carolina. And I definitely do not mind it. But it's 1,000-something miles between here and Dallas. And so come on out this go around, don't wait and you hear about it and you thought about coming and you didn't come, and then your friend or your cousin or mom or whoever ends up telling, oh, you should have went and saw that movie. And then you send a little bird to tell me or ask me, can we come back? And so come now while the coming is good, while the getting is good, as they say. We're here, and we'll be here this Saturday. That's the flyer. You can see it for yourself. It's at the Triangle Cinemas movie. It's a regular movie theater. They have popcorn, the candy, and all that other stuff. And guess what? It's overpriced, just like all the rest of the movie theaters are. But you'll have fun. That's a part of the movie experience. You're going to pay a lot of money for some popcorn, but you don't mind it as long as it tastes good. And they do have good popcorn, good candy, and all that stuff. But it's at 9500 Forum Drive. That's Raleigh, North Carolina. And so please come on out. Definitely at the door. You'll be able to get tickets for $12. But you're going to be entertained. But you're going to learn something, and you're going to move forward in your life with a renewed mind. And so that's what it's all about.
And you also have something taking place more than just the movie.
Yes.
Afterwards, there's a panel discussion. You
There's
have
a
some
panel-
people that are
there's a
going to be
panel
there,
discussion.
correct?
Yep, there's a panel discussion with smart people like Gabe, Gabe and Dr. Renee, and I don't know who the third therapist will be, but we usually have three of them. This group, they all three of them will be from Renewed Strength, right, Dave? Renewed Strength. That's the organization. And so they're going to explain to us the three main characters and what they were dealing with in the movie. And then the favorite part, which I always have to end it because people constantly have questions after questions after question. And we definitely don't mind it, but there's a limitation on the rental request from the movie theaters. So we have to be careful about the time. But that's my favorite part. And that's why we are there, for people to be willing to open up and extend that, right? And understand this, I would say this to the audience. Don't feel threatened. This isn't something that myself or anybody is going to call you out and say, hey, I want you to come in here and say this or do this. I had some tickets got given out today, and I told the young, maybe it was yesterday, and I told the young guys, I said, just think of it just as a regular movie, because that's what it is, right? You can come and watch the movie and not say a word, just like you would go to see a regular movie, because it is a regular movie. You can go there and just enjoy a movie and get up and leave, right, when it's all over. But we do have a panel discussion at the end of the film that people tend to engage. And above all of that, what helps me to know that we're on the right path with doing this is that people in the audience connect to the therapist. And Gabe can attest to that, is that people in the audience, they reach out, they talk to the different therapists, they get their contact information, and they follow up, right? And so they're walking away doing what the objective was, accomplishing that, and that is connecting to their local mental health care providers.
Wow. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to allow Gabe to give us some information. Gabe, tell us about Renewed Strength and what they are doing over there. And I have the website up. We're going to pull this down. Once again, you're listening to the Greg Ellis story, and he had a young man here who has the background to help you. Tell us about what's happening with your agency once again and why this is important to you guys. Talk to us about Dr. Renee, why she started this, and what people can expect if they come to your office services.
Yeah, so thank you for this time as well. Renewed Strength has been around several years. It was created by Dr. Renee Mena and also a co-owner, which is Lucretia Guru. Both of them strong women that they're both of them right there. Strong women that when you talk to them, they make you smile because they build you up. They kind of took me under their wing when I was an intern, and they asked if I wanted to come back after I got my state license. And there are several other clinicians as well. We've got about 7 total clinicians. I'm the only male, but we're getting more. So we'll have more males. But what's interesting is that we do a myriad of things, myriad of services. We do individual counseling. We do group sessions. We do telehealth. We do couples therapy. We do trainings, seminars, parent support. We deal with things like mood disorders, like depression. We also deal with Dr. Renee has her doctorate, and she specializes in just about everything, but she's a supervisor, but also a postpartum depression for men and women that she specializes in. But we deal with anxiety disorders like social anxiety, like phobias. We deal with traumas. So post-traumatic stress disorder, adjustment disorders, people that are adjusting to different things in their lives, obsessive compulsive disorders. We deal with eating disorders. We also deal with sleep and wake disorders, insomnia, or even sleep apnea, and then ADHD as well. So there's a myriad of things that we deal with, that we work with. And some of our, the ways that we deal with this is with different counseling approaches, kind of like DBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, Gottman for couples. We're all pretty much Christians. So we bring that Christian worldview into the room, but we don't get into that aspect of it unless the client wants to do that. We are trauma informed. We do solution focused type stuff. We do motivational interviewing. We also do mindfulness, where we focus more on bringing the client to the here and now. We have specialists that deal with children. And that's a huge part of what we do as well, but it's all age groups. We deal with, 6-year-olds all the way up to 80-plus-year-olds. So there's no segment of the population that we don't deal with. We take insurances. There's a lot of different things that, and all we ask is just make the phone call. Make the phone call. You'll talk to our office manager, most likely, or an intern. Office manager is Ms. Shanita Johnson. She runs the office, and she was with us last night. And she is an amazing woman. You can call into her, 919-891-0016, and get an appointment. We've got quite a few specialists that can do myriad of things, and a lot of there are social workers, counselors, clinicians that are part of this agency. And I tell you, it's a solid agency. It's someone that goes out and does a lot of stuff in the community.
I did want to ask y'all one thing. We're going to just have a few more questions, and thank y'all for sharing about the app. Thank you for sharing about your availability for the services and for the movie, Greg, and the partnership that y'all have. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're coming back through Raleigh, North Carolina, this Saturday, you can come and see this movie. And the discount code is Greg Ellis. The discount code is Greg Ellis. If you don't want to pay the full price, not only will you get a movie, but you're going to have some trained professionals there, and they will have a panel discussion afterwards. I want to put this picture back up and ask a question about this, because you guys have the experience, you as an athlete, Greg, and you as the actual mental health professional. Athletes, we just had a young man's funeral today that was a former football player that walked around with a smile on his face, and a lot of people probably were surprised that he took his life, 23 years old. And there's a lot of pressures, not only with athletes, but people in different professions. Any suggestions on what parents can do, any triggers they need to look for when it comes to this? I want to just give them a little bit of something to take away from here. Any warning signs, any triggers, so that the parents will know if there is a danger zone. And Greg, you can speak from a perspective of the people that you lost, maybe, and then Gabe, you can speak from the professional standpoint and just let the people know exactly what they can look for, because I think this is important. Some people just don't know. And I know sometimes their parents are too busy, they're not there. But what are some things they can look for?
Well, I think, the change in behavior, right? Going from one extreme to another extreme, just doing things that's really uncharacteristic. I mean, I think, and I'm only speaking from what I have experienced with some people that I personally know, and doing some things that are, that seems, the word does not come to my mind right now, but doing some things that just does not add up, right? Doing things that's, and I don't like to use the word normal, but doing things that's very different, if you would, right? Giving, a car away that's to a total stranger, giving large lump sums of money away where that's not your regular MO, if you would. And so just uncharacteristic stuff, if you would. Isolation is another big one, if you would. Or who's a person who's usually more reserved, all of a sudden becomes the life of the party now, right? And start doing a whole bunch of uncharacteristic stuff. Pay attention to that person, and reach out to them, just check on them, especially with our kids. Make sure that we always are staying involved with their life. And I know that can get hard sometimes because the world is moving at such a fast pace. But like I said last night, I would go visit my grandmother, God rest her soul now, and she would say, one thing about Greg, he comes by. He don't stay long, but he comes by. And that's important, right? You're talking about the percentage of people who are 85 and older. That's the largest group of people that life, percentage-wise, I should say, that life ends by suicide. And when you ask people, again, I had to do the research on this, but when you ask people, part of that answer is because they feel lonely, right? They feel like I'm out of the game now. Nobody comes by and check on me. And so it's really no reason for me to continue living this life. And so let's make sure that we are doing our best, the able-bodied people, that we can go around, visit people, give them a call, give them a text, just to holler at them, check on them, see how they doing, just to let them know that somebody is in their corner. I think that's important.
Wow. And what would you like to add to that from your professional experience? Warning signs that we need to be looking for.
Yeah, definitely. All the ones Greg said, maybe even persistent sadness. Greg said withdrawal, not enjoying the things that they once did. That can be something. All these that I'm going to talk about are probably in and of themselves. One might not be like one, but when you put them together, it can be something, right? Excessive worry or fear, constant anxiety or panic attacks that they didn't have before. Maybe they're having mood swings that weren't there before, irritability, anger outbursts that they didn't have before, sudden calmness after a distress thing that happened to them, even changes in sleep or appetite. That can be something, sleeping too much or sleeping too little, something that's different. Even your weight that changes, that could be something if it wasn't something that changed all that much before. Maybe even a decline in performance, at work or school, or just your responsibilities, period. And then, like what Greg said, social isolation, pulling away from your friends, from your family, from church. If you were going to church, every week and you end up stop going to church altogether. And then something else, substance use, alcohol, drugs, or other risky behaviors. And so when I'm talking about these, I'm actually thinking about the movie, because the movie brings a lot of this into it, a lot. And you can see it. It's so clear that the movie really is a good depiction of things to look for. And so I've got to give Greg an attaboy on that. It's amazing how it depicts these things. But I also want to say that, some positive factors, some things that we can do to kind of help these folks as well is really what we found is faith and spirituality can be a big aspect of overcoming, or maybe not even getting into that. Prayer, church, a church community is really big, especially when it comes to connection groups that have like accountability partners, especially for men, because accountability partners are supposed to hold you accountable, right? They're supposed to talk faith and talk life into you. And so it's so important to have somebody that can do that. Strong family communications. That's the challenge. As we start getting older, we start pulling away from our family. But the isolated family, or the family that can communicate very well with each other, they're going to know when there's something that's a little bit off with their sibling or with their daughter or with their son. And then having close friends, having those people that you can really talk to about your emotions without feeling shame. And then, ultimately, if it works that, look, none of this is working out, trying to get to a professional as soon as possible to try to get that early intervention would be some of the things I would say that we could probably work on.
Well, listen,
Correct.
we hope that you guys have taken notes. We hope that you will share this information. It is very important that we share. I know one thing that I experienced one time was I got a goodbye call. I got a call where it was like, I love you. It was a farewell call. And this particular person was in the parking lot taking some pills. And we got the police there in time, and they got them to the hospital and pumped their stomach. So if you get a call with somebody just saying like, listen, just want to let you know I love you, daughter, it just doesn't sound right. You have, what you have to do is pay attention. We have to slow down. In my opinion, we have to slow down. We have to slow down and really listen and watch and just show some concern and be present. Be present when we're with our family. Don't just always be like this. You go in a room today, this is what you see. Just about everybody in there is like this, and we grew up. I don't know about you guys, but when we grew up, we sat down at the table, we ate together, we were all together. Now people are in different rooms, they got a meal, they get the food, they get it to go, and somebody's eating in the car, somebody's eating in the bedroom, somebody's eating downstairs in the den. Schedule time to eat together. So there's just so much that we can suggest, I'm sure, because it's just not being done.
Yeah.
But gentlemen, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of give us a closing remark so we can bring this to a close. And once again, you gentlemen have an amazing mission right now. And thank you for caring. Thank you for caring enough to do this, because a lot of people are not doing it. A lot of people, like you said, they're choosing to ignore it. A lot of churches want to do more, but they can't. A lot of communities want to do more. We can talk about it, Gabe. We could talk about, I said to you, let's do some some meetings locally. We have some people. We all know somebody. We can have conversations. Y'all saw what happened. We couldn't really get out of there yesterday because people started to want to open up because they had some stuff that was suppressed. And they're grown. They're grown. So imagine how these children are feeling. Imagine how these young adults are feeling if we're grown and we're suppressing it, and we pretty much are a little bit more equipped. They have a different life than what we had. So I feel for them. But on that note, I'm gonna let y'all kind of give us a closing remark so we can bring this to a close so you can prepare for the rest of your week, Greg. And we'll come back again. We're definitely not gonna let this be the only time because this is important. I'll start with you first, Gabe, and then I'll let Greg close it out.
Okay. I would say, a big thing is if you need help, there are crisis hotlines. 988 is probably one of the biggest one, but getting this app is huge as well. This GMH app is a very good app. So that's something that's very good. And look, if you feel like, you just want to talk to somebody, call Renewed Strength Counseling Services. We have an opportunity to sit with you. We got a 15-minute free consultation. You can sit there and talk with us for that amount of time. And look, it might not even be something that you want to continue to move forward with, but at least take that step and then come out this weekend. I mean, I'll leave that to Greg, but I've seen the movie several times. I've had the opportunity to be in the room, like Greg said, in this movie at the end, and having people ask questions. It just seems like we don't try to get anybody to say or do anything that they don't want to do. They automatically start raising their hands and throwing different things out. And we want to try to answer these questions. And look, if you just have a question and you want to call us up, by all means, give us a call. We'd be glad to talk to you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And Greg, once again, we want to thank you for coming. We want to thank you for sharing. We want to thank you for answering the call, because we know that many are called, but others are chosen. And you are taking it serious. You're going around the world with this mission. And so we want to say congratulations to you. And we pray that you start to get reports on how people actually, didn't commit suicide or got the services as a result of your movie, as a result of your app. So any closing comments that you'd like to give us?
I'd like to apologize to the people for me yawning so much because, I'm sitting here and I'm tired and I'm doing a lot of sweat. When I'm extremely tired, I sweat real easy, period, but especially when I'm tired. And so my ask and my prayer is that, we get to the point to where we can hire some people, because right now, there are people who work, to build the app and film the movie. I don't do all those things by myself, obviously. But I would say that, I'd be glad and want to encourage people to help us get to that point, because what we're doing is proving it is helping people. People have shared with me and share with other people how much this is helping them, has helped them. And so, be praying for us. I'll say that. And for as the app, obviously, I have explained that to you. And make sure you come out this Saturday to see the film. It'll start at 3:00. The flyer is on the screen. So I look forward to seeing some of you guys out there as well. Share it with other people. So if you're in that Raleigh area, Durham area, Wendell, Knightdale, be sure that you take the time to come on out and check out the film and talk to Gabe and the rest of the team as well. It'll be real good. I know that. And be praying for us because, somebody sent something to one of our emails and they asked, where does the money go to? What do you do with the money? And I have not had a chance to reply to that person yet because I've stayed so busy from sun up to sundown working on stuff on getting my help. Last year I coached football. This year I'm not. I'm 100% concentrating on doing stuff for and with getting my help. And so it is a huge task. We're gaining, as they say, popularity, if you would. And that's good. I thank God for it. But we definitely, we're getting to the point where it's becoming more than I can handle for as facilitating all those places that I said I have to not have to go, that I'm glad we're going. I'm glad I'm going because it's helping people. And if it can help people from dying from suicide and doing some other unhealthy stuff, it's definitely worth it. But yeah, it's good. But, please support us. Please, pray for us, be in prayer for us, that, we get the right volunteers in place so we can continue to reach out and go even farther, right? Because understand, like I said, we have one here in Raleigh this Saturday. That's the 20th. And then on the 23rd, right, going to be all the way back in Texas, doing another one. The 18th, we're in Chicago of October. Then the very next day, we're in Florida doing another one. And there's other ones that I have skipped out of, I kind of forgot about, but not just showing the film and doing the symposium. There's also requests for me to go to places to share and talk and do presentations about mental health as well. Had the luxury of being, I think last week, I'd say the days are running together, but it was in, not Disney World, but Myrtle Beach doing the presentation about mental health. I think the day before that, I was at Fayetteville State, again, another presentation. Then back to Fayetteville from Myrtle Beach from Friday to Saturday, showing the film and having a symposium. And then with Gabe and them last night, doing another presentation. And so, again, definitely not complaining about it, but just ask for people to, be praying for us. Obviously, it takes money to do stuff. And I'm asking for money to hire staff. If you want to volunteer your time, if you can afford to do that, I would love to have you on. But again, that's what my prayer is. That's what my ask is, for us to be, have the people in place that can help us cover more ground quicker, because the product, if you would, is helping people. And anybody that have seen the movie, been a part of it, has been a part of one of the presentations, it's working for people, if you would. And so I had another meeting today about two ladies, and they are wanting to bring it to their organization. I can't release the name of the organization, but it's definitely a national organization. So have to do a lot. Again, don't take this as I'm complaining about it. I thank God for it. The overflow and the requests that we're getting, and people seeing the difference, and people are sharing those testimonies about how being a part of the symposium and seeing the movie has helped them. It's very rewarding when you're up in front of people presenting something to them, and you see their faces light up because they feel like they got an answer for something that has been troubling them for so long. And now that is troubling hundreds of millions of people, almost 1 billion people, and that is mental health. So again, love to see you at the movie this Saturday, September the 20th. Go get your tickets. The discount code is Greg Ellis, all lowercase, no spaces. So, all right, that's my ask, and that's what what we need to happen. But like I said, that person, I still have not had the chance to respond to them, because I don't think I haven't wanted to, but literally, I've been on a computer all day and broke for lunch around 3 o'clock not even 3 o'clock. It was after 3 o'clock Eastern time because that meeting we had was at 3 o'clock. So probably about 3:30, almost 4 o'clock, broke for lunch then. So yes, but I'm not going to stop. This is something I know God has called me to do right now in my life. And I see the harvest. I see, people being helped from it, and some people even share with me that they have used the app and it's had a major impact in their life for them being able to connect to resources, mental health providers that they needed to connect to, and that app helped them to do that. So again, download the app. It's free. Getting My Help is the app. Go to your app store, whether it's Android or Apple platform. Go and download the app, free to download.
Wow. Thank you so much. And we're going to keep you in our prayers, Father God, right now. Just be with Mr. Greg as he does all these things, and he goes and stretches himself, Father God. We know that you would not put more on us than we can bear. And we pray that you get the help you need. Volunteers, they let me know if there's something I can do. And, we'll put the word out for other people in the area. If you're coming back this way, let us know in advance, and maybe we can really help, because we would love to. It touched our lives, so we definitely would like to do that. On
Chris,
that note,
let me say this, professional football and college football has taken me a lot of places, but one place that it did not take me to was Idaho. And so what day is that? October the 11th. See, I forgot that date. So October the 11th, whatever that, I think it's Saturday. Yeah, I fly out on the 10th. And, I got to do the presentation there October the 11th. And so football never took me to Idaho. So when the request came, I was like, I've never been to Idaho. And I've been to a lot of places, but I was like, I've never been to Idaho. So, but that'll be interesting. But again, like I said, I thank God that people see the value in, what we're doing. They see the results. Gabe can testify to that. He's been a part of it twice, and 3 times he's seen the movie, I believe. And so it works, right? It helps people.
It does.
It's not the, I don't want people to think, okay, all we got to do is just get around Greg and he's going to say a couple of words and everything's going to be all right. No, because notice, I'd like to have people like Gabe and other trained professionals in that circle to help people, and that's what we're doing, is helping to introduce them to quality mental health care providers that are right in their backyard, if you would. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's what it's all about. Each one helping, collaborating, partnerships, networking, and just doing what we do. I mean, there's enough out here for everybody to do it. We need to come together. So if you've seen something and heard something and you missed it, go back to the replay, share it. Please share it. Come out Saturday. Use the discount code Greg Ellis this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Six Forks Road in Raleigh, North Carolina. I will reshare it on my different platforms too. And let's keep these gentlemen in your prayers, and go back and pay attention to your family and your close friends, and slow down a minute and just really see them. We've been talking about mental health tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So on that note, we're going to bring this to a close. I want to say thank you, gentlemen, for your time. And hopefully I'll see you for a few on Saturday if I can make it through there. And you know what I always say, I'm your hope catalyst. My mission is to stir up the gift, instill hope, and save lives. And I always say, let's find a way to recycle that hope. We have to have it. They say keep hope alive, but you have to have faith sometimes. Some people don't have that faith, but those who have it, then it works easier. All right. So we'll see y'all on the next story time. We'll be back Sunday. We should be back this Sunday. We'll definitely be back next Wednesday, but I believe that we'll be back Sunday too. And we're going to end on that note. Have an amazing evening. You've been watching Storytime. Support these gentlemen. Make sure you go back and check out their information. And we appreciate you. Have an amazing evening. Thank you guys so much. And we'll talk soon. All right.
All right.
A catalyst for change with the chance to thrive. Crystal is the one to stir up gifts and save lives. You get exposure, promotion, and marketing too. And advertise for business owners just like you. On Storytime, your interview is global. Virtual or in person, just come on the show. Yo, your story matters. Crystals will open the door. 40 years of experience, ready to give you more on Storytime. Get ready for Storytime. Hey!